Thank you for participating in the Steamboat Springs Area Community Plan online. This 10-minute presentation and accompanying survey are intended to gain input from the community on the goals and policies of the 2004 Community Plan. The City and County are engaging in a series of public meetings throughout the community in April and May 2011, and this online presentation is intended to provide an additional opportunity for the public to participate in this process. The purpose of this public outreach campaign is to touch base with the community and understand what areas of the 2004 plan need to be updated and what topics need to be added to the plan. The end result of this process will be a proposed scope of work for the community plan update. This work plan will be presented to the City Council and County Commissioners this coming summer. The objectives of this presentation are to first provide an overview of the 2004 plan, discuss the changed conditions since the plan was adopted, and finally, gain input from you on the relevancy of the 2004 visions and identify which areas of the plan are in need of update and which areas need to be added to the plan. The planning process we use is very similar to that used in business and everyday life. It begins with establishing a baseline and knowing where you are. From there, you can create a vision for the future, and that is the primary function of the area community plan. From there, you identify strategies for implementing that vision, and finally, monitor your progress towards achieving that vision. And this is the step that we're in today. The public outreach campaign is part of an initial phase of a multi-phase planning process to update the community plan. The outcome of this first phase will be a scope of work for the plan update based on community priorities. This scope of work will be presented to City Council and the County Commissioners this summer and will determine future phases of the plan update process. Future phases include more community outreach to establish detailed priorities, visions, and strategies for the future. The creation of the 2004 plan included a great deal of public participation. 10 working groups were established for each major chapter of the plan. From those working groups came over 200 action items. Of those 200 action items, 1/3 are complete, 1/3 are ongoing or underway, and 1/3 have yet to be initiated. The process for developing the 2004 plan followed a similar process to the one we are currently engaging in today. What is missing from the 2004 plan process is an evaluation of our progress towards the established visions, and that is where we are today. The 2004 plan resulted in a great deal of subsequent plans and regulations, including the West of Steamboat Springs Area Plan, the Open Space and Trails Master Plan, Downtown Design Guidelines, and the Base Area Design Standards. From these plans came significant amount of public investment in our base area, in downtown, also resulted in open space acquisitions and investments in our trail corridors. The environment that the 2004 plan was created in was one of significant growth pressure. With that came a sense that there were threats to our natural and cultural resources, as well as a general loss of affordability. But with that growth came an expectation of expanding resources to potentially address these issues. These expectations are some of the main drivers behind the visions and strategies found in the 2004 plan. Now we are going to switch gears and explore a few indicators on how things have changed since the 2004 plan was adopted. An indicator that we are all very familiar with is employment. Over the past 17 years, these two groups of industry sectors have been relatively stable and have seen steady growth in the number of jobs since 2003. Our tourism-related jobs in accommodations, food service, and retail make up a large segment of our total employment. This segment has seen a significant decline in jobs over the past 2 years. But the real story in our local employment has been in construction and real estate. This segment has saw a dramatic increase in employment during the boom and a sharp decline beginning in 2008. At its peak, the two segments of construction and real estate, accommodations, food services, and retail made up 75% of total employment in Routt County. Today, it's closer to 40%. The 2004 plan was expecting total jobs to be on the rise, while the reality is that we have seen a general decline in employment. And this begs the question, Is the 2004 plan able to respond to this change in expectations? A primary aspect of the 2004 plan was housing affordability. This graph represents the cost of a home in Steamboat Springs as a multiple of household income. In the period leading up to the 2004 plan adoption, an average home cost 4.5 times yearly income. This ratio expanded to almost 8 times during the boom and has leveled off recently at 5.5. Over that same period of time, the Denver metro area has been significantly more stable. Looking at an affordability threshold, where 30% of income goes towards housing, you can see that we were above this level in 2004. And even though we have experienced a decline in housing prices recently, we are still above the 2004 baseline and well above the affordability threshold. Population is another indicator of how we've changed over time. Since 1910, we have had steady population growth, with rapid population growth following the establishment of the ski area. The 2004 plan expected this trend of rapid growth to continue, but as you can see, the expectations have outpaced reality by more than 2,000 residents. Looking at the last 10 years in more detail, we can see that we have actually experienced a population decrease in recent years. We are not sure what our current population trajectory is, but we are certain that it will be less than what was expected in 2004. The final indicator, and one of the major aspects of the 2004 plan that drove many of the growth-related policies, is build-out. In 2004, there were 6,500 dwelling units within the existing city of Steamboat Springs. At that time, the anticipation was that there was 1,400 units of additional capacity within the existing city. With the expectation of increased employment and population growth, there was a sense that demand would outpace supply, and that excess demand would be accommodated in the west of Steamboat Springs area. But since 2004, 3,500 dwelling units have been developed within the existing city limits without annexation. This has been primarily due to intense infill development and mixed-use redevelopment. Today, we estimate that there is 4,600 dwelling units of additional capacity within the existing city limits on vacant parcels. This estimate does not include the potential for redevelopment, which may further increase capacity. So this begs the question, does this change in expectation warrant the need to revisit our growth-related policies? We just saw that the 2004 expectations and reality have not matched up. So here we stand, looking towards an uncertain future, not sure which path to take. Nevertheless, the 2004 plan established very worthwhile goals for the community. So our challenge today, in a time of limited resources, is to prioritize our vision and reevaluate our strategies for whichever path we may go down. The link on the page will take you to an online survey so that you can provide input on the 2004 plan and help identify which issues are most important to the community moving forward. The results of the online survey and the community meetings being held in April and May will help develop the scope of work for the community plan update. Please check the website periodically for updates on this process, including upcoming meetings. Thank you for taking time to participate in the community plan update scoping process.